Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release, playing the hottest, most cutting-edge video games in November 1982. We were last playing Picnic Paranoia on the Atari home computer. Let's see what the next game is. It's Picnic Paranoia for the Apple II, the other port that you could have played right now. Let's check it out. Here's the box. It should look just like we saw on the Atari home computer. This is Synapse Software's 10th game that we played, including all ports and variations of it. We got bugs all over the place, and we got to take them out. Flip it over the back. You can see we're having our picnic still. Fortunately, we have a pet swatter that we brought. Unfortunately, there's ants all over the place. Fortunately, George is able to defend the food. Unfortunately, there are stinging wasps in the area. Fortunately and unfortunately, lots of fortunate and unfortunate things happening. The magazine ad for Synapse Software for the Christmas season is right here. And this has everything I think we've seen except Fort Apocalypse. We're going to be seeing that one soon. But yeah, Reptilian, I don't think we've seen that one yet either. But a lot of these, Synapse Software is killing it. They got some really good games right now. And we also have the screenshot for the Apple II. Looks pretty similar. Any other versions? Yeah, we got a cleanly cracked one. We're going to play uncracked. This is Picnic Paranoia, Synapse Software in the beginning of November 1982. On the Apple II. This marks the 409th game we've played on the Apple II. Whoa. They got music. They're doing it just like they did on the Atari home computer. Nice. So we're going to do a one-player game, and yes, joystick. Enter to go. And there's George. So the presentation they sent over the same for Picnic Paranoia. Yeah, there it is. It's in. I have very, very similar controls. So this is a very well done port to bring this to the Apple II. All I'm doing is moving around 8 different directions. I got my fly swatter. Need to nab as many ants as I can. We got a spider in the top right already for the first round. Okay. I know for sure on the Atari home computer version, you could use the number keys to select the level you wanted to go to, but I don't know if the Apple II has that feature or not. But if enough ants gather around all the food, then they start dragging it away. And the whole premise is just keep swatting those bugs. But the way this looks is really close, and in fact, the joystick I'm playing, most joysticks for the Apple II is still analog joystick. There is some adapters that you can use for digital play, but most of them were paddle or analog control. But this one is playing and moving very, very well for joystick control. If you do this with 2 people, you're going to be taking turns like an arcade style game, and I mentioned that when we played it on the Atari home computer. So this is still a very well done port, but I have to say, after replaying the Atari home computer version of Picnic Paranoia and then playing some of this for oh, I got poisoned. Preparing for the test for this video, I have found that I kind of rated this maybe a little too high, because while the presentation is very good and is a very technical achievement that they did for the game, it's just not as fun as some of the other arcade games that we played on home computers. Considering we have, Frogger games that are out there and shooters, it's refreshing that we're playing something that's essentially a hack and slash. I called it a SWAT and slash, but because you don't have as much control over the movement of the fly swatter, it just doesn't have as much of a fun appeal, at least for me. So I'm actually going to say, of all the games you could be playing, look over the chat. Yes, the art style is close, but you can see the colors pop, and at least more than the Atari home computer, but the color is very similar. Wait a second, it's very similar to what we see on the Apple II. Look at that. I should be able to swat that fly, but I cannot. Also, does it feel like the time is it feels like the time's going slower on the Apple II? You finish that round, move on to the next one, and keep going as the bugs keep flying. It does look like that a little bit, Manly. Sweet. All right, so I was a little premature for the rating, but I would say of all the games you could play right now across all home computers, Picnic Paranoia is still a good time, but I wouldn't say 4 stars. So I actually brought the rating down on the Atari home computer and said 3.5 of all the games you could play. There's some other games that I would say are 4-star, but not Picnic Paranoia. Maybe because it was Synapse Software. It's a really good company, and they made lots of really good games. But I'll say of all the games you can play right now across all home computers, 3.5. And I see Brad's already thrown out 3.5, or maybe the average from M. Tiskey there. So yeah, 3.5 stars for both versions of Picnic Paranoia. We are going to see this one later on the Texas Instruments home computer around 1983, and I think that in the chat, Curtis brought up that there was a version planned for the TRS-80 color computer that never happened. But we will see another, at least one more Picnic Paranoia here on the show. All right, with that, let's press forward to see our next game. We're back on the Atari home computer. This is Pinhead. Let's check it out. Man, we got a lot to say about Pinhead. Check out that box. First of all, this is Pinhead. We are Pinhead. We are the most jacked clown and scariest clown we've ever seen on the show for any video game up to this point. This marks our 393rd game we've played on the Atari home computer. We're almost to 400 games. But I just want to bask in this box, right? Oh, you already called it, Chiptune. That's right. Before we even got the gameplay going, you know if we're doing a clown. It's got to be. So this is by Utopia Software, and you can see in the top right of the box, that's Robert Yeager. This is the first time we've seen Utopia Software and Robert Yeager for a video game here on Chronologically Gaming. You need the joystick. You go to the circus. Pinhead the Clown is going to be performing acts of acrobatics equipped with a pointy hat. Okay, we're going to ride the tightrope on our unicycle. Oh yeah, it totally sounds like Kicks from the, or Kick Man from the back of the box. We get the point values as well, and there's the ad from magazines. Only your skill will save you. It almost looks like the clown Pinhead is going to kill us. And only our skill will be able to save us. Oh, and then it says you are Pinhead the Clown. Okay, got it. Right? I know, right? Early, if you're don't like clowns or you're scared by clowns, then Pinhead may not be right for you. There's one example of the cassette we're going to pop in to play, and man, oh man, that Pinhead looks freaky. So we have a few different versions. Let's pop in and play the first one. This is Pinhead by Robert Yeager and Utopia Software in the beginning of November 1982. I don't know what to expect with this one. We got a slow crawl for the opening. Yep, there it is, Pinhead. I'm expecting something like a ripoff of an arcade game, but it's once again an arcade-style game that we're playing on a home computer. Okay, so what options do we got? Option button, nothing. I'm hitting the option key for anything. Select, I got nothing. So there is no options for playing the game, at least hitting the select on the computer. So let's just hit start and go. Yes, there it is. What in the world happened? Pinhead. I'm moving left and right, and I just gotta get under the balloons and pop them. But where's my scary jacked clown? This looks like a middle-aged man on a unicycle. Maybe this is when Pinhead came back to the circus after years and years of torment. All right, do I have a kick? I do. Look at that. So it is the biggest blatant ripoff of Kick or Kickman that we saw in the arcades. Oh, there he goes. We saw in the arcade December 1981. But this is the first round. Keep the balloons up. If one of the balloons misses, then you can kick it in the air or don't even get to it and die. If you look in the bottom left, that's how many lives we have left. And they do keep a high score for us. There's a good kick. Pops it back up. And popped it. So yeah, we have a Pinhead, that's for sure. I saw a review of someone talking about this game on Atari Mania, and they sounded like this was the first ever game like this. Oh, the music changed. That's cool. So now we are doing the balancing act. Yep, catching as many as you can. Notice that every balloon with a different color comes down at different speeds. Yes, it is. There's tunes we've heard before. This one, I believe, is The Entertainer that's playing in the background. More public domain music. Whenever we saw Kick or Kickman in the arcade, it was giving an homage to Pac-Man. But look, we have... Is that Space Invaders? I think that's the very first Space Invaders cameo we've ever seen in any video game. The original arcade had Pac-Man that would come down and eat the balloons as a cameo. So this is Space Invaders 2? That's awesome. All right, let's go in again. It's lacking in game variations or variety. Like you can see, the first round, you just need to get under the balloons and pop it. But there isn't any other modes, 1 or 2 player modes or anything like that. It's just you being as Pinhead playing the game. We've already seen Kick and Kickman brought home to home computers on the Commodore Max machine and Commodore 64 around August of this year, 1982. Oh, didn't make it fast enough. But this plays well enough. In fact, after playing the home version of Kick, I think they just called it Kickman on the Commodore 64 and Max machine, this one plays as good, if not even maybe a little better because of the Space Invader. I like the Space Invaders idea that we saw too. And then 2 more balloons, bring it down. We have the music going in the background, which is a nice touch. Oh no, what happens if I max out the balloons, though? Oh, okay, it just pops them at the top, like that. If we do make it far enough, though, it has cutscenes in the game, so you can see Pac-Man in this game. So in this has Pac-Man as a cutscene if you get past this mode, and it goes even further than this. You end up catching more things besides balloons, so there's a lot more to this game than what we saw as the ports on the Commodore Max Machine and Commodore 64. And so that's why I would give this the nod of saying this is just as good presentation-wise and the way that this plays as the official. It's just I really wanted to play as the jacked clown. That's the only reason I bring the score down. But after playing them back to back or so close together, this is great. A great game to play at home. Yeah, you can see it's starting to be. It can be frantic. The arcade version was using a different control scheme too, because you weren't using a digital joystick like we are now. It does feel a tad slower, right? But you can keep going, and there's a lot more to this game than just that. So of all the games you could play right now across all home computers, this is still a really fresh idea. If you really enjoy Kick or Kickman in the arcade, and you don't have the official version because we play everything here, this is still a very rare treat. It's a variation of that arcade game. So I would say it's pretty high up. Of all the games I'm looking over on the side, 3 stars, I'm actually going to go higher because I enjoy this game, this idea, and there's not a lot of games that play quite like this. Like 3 stars, maybe even 4 stars of all the games you could play up to this point. Majority of the chat's around the average range, 3 stars for everything you could see up to this point. It's not quite as polished as the official versions we've seen, but at home, this is still a very well done one. Yeah, 3 stars. I'm going to say 3.5 of all the games you could play on all home computers right now. Well done, Pinhead. I really wanted to play as that clown, though. Maybe the box should bump it up a notch. We started at 3 stars. We give it an extra half after that. Yeah, and the extra cutscene should be more, right? All right, let's press forward to see our next game. Next, we're going to the arcade and playing Pirate Pete. Let's check it out. Here is the advertisement flyer for Pirate Pete. For those of you who seek real treasure. And by real treasure, they're not talking about actual real treasure. This isn't Sword Quest. It's video game treasure. This is the 479th game we've played in the arcade here on Chronologically Gaming. Great front of the box. And everyone should know what this game is as soon as we start playing it. Maybe you saw this first in the arcades, but the very first time you ever saw this was Jungle King in June 1982, and then Jungle Hunt we already saw too in August 1982. This is the next reskin of it. Pirate Pete's the thrilling adventure of a swashbuckling hero. We have a pirate-themed video game in the arcade. Yes, that's right. Jungle King it is. There's the example of the arcade cabinet, some of the artwork around the outside, and I couldn't find that exact artwork as a bezel for this. There's the arcade marquee for Pirate Pete and an example of the screenshot. All right, let's go to the arcade and play Pirate Pete. This is by Taito of America in the beginning of November 1982. Oh yes, ready? Nice, and go. We have no Tarzan yell or anything like that. For everybody that got sued by Edgar Rice Burroughs and his family, the first scene. I didn't know you could drop straight down from the rope. That's awesome. So this first scene is reminiscent of all the other ones we've seen. Moved from, it used to be vine to vine, but now we're on a ship. Man, my play test, I did a lot better than I did on a live show, and we're already game over. You cannot play to win in this. It is more screens than just this one. Let's put another coin in and go. Come on, we got this. One thing you should do is not rush it, because every time you play, the ropes are swinging differently. Oh, that would have been a great idea with the cannons down below. I did it again. I didn't know you could drop straight down. I guess whenever you do it on the way back. Good thing I got plenty of quarters. And again, I was hoping to see more scenes of Pirate Pete before we get to it. Come on, let's do this. You can try the fast, rushed way to play, but you do have a timer at the top that you're kind of fighting against. This one has 4 different scenes, like we saw with all the other ones, but they're all with a pirate theme now. So it's a completely reskinned game. You don't mess with Edgar Rice Burroughs and Tarzan. Oh man, now why didn't that jump work? But they are giving us these little checkpoints. Every time that we die, we're starting at the same mast we had before, which is very nice. That's better. Oh my goodness. Wait for it now. And there's the game over again. This is not the whole game. You have to get through this part first. They changed the ropes a little bit differently than the vines from Jungle King and Jungle Hunt. Yeah, and then the amazing effort that they did. So I'm curious to know if anyone in the chat played this one first before Jungle King or Jungle Hunt. When we had John Reddick on the show, when we first played John Reddick of Gen X Grown Up, I asked him if he played Jungle King at all first before, you know, it was reskinned to Jungle Hunt, and he said he did. But this could be your first experience with this style of game, you know, the rope swinging, because we're going to see Jungle Hunt come home, but Pirate Pete, were there any ports of this, of Pirate Pete specifically? Oh, that rope is moving now. Oh, first. Too cool. Yeah, before they changed it up. It was made for the Tarzan theme. It's a nice effort, though, right here. Oh, look at that. In the water we go. So make sure we go up for oxygen. There is a possibility of drowning, and now I'm moving using all the joystick. Watch out for the bubbles. Take out some of the sharks if you can. It shows at the top of the screen what I got for health left. It looks like the bubbles just slow me down, but we don't need to dive too deep. Get some treasure there. Go under the bubbles there. So, I mean, look at the presentation and look at this game that we're going from a concept that we haven't seen before, at least if you don't count Jungle King and Jungle Hunt, swinging from rope to rope, and now we're in the water swimming. It's a scrolling level. Nice and easy now. Oh, we do have treasure at the bottom. And you can't use your sword. I got an action on the sharks, but the timing is really, really tight. And this is why I said you couldn't play to win. If I put a coin in right now, and like say I want to continue, it does not remember that I left off in the water. So you have to have the skill to make it all the way to the end. After you get to the water stage, then you have the climbing or it's basically an auto-run platformer where you're climbing up the side of a mountain, and then at the end, you're going to be, I think the end of Jungle King was you rescuing someone else. But they have different music. Most people would even, if they never saw Jungle King or Jungle Hunt, it would look like its own game. And off the top of my head, I can't think of a ton of games in the arcade that have a pirate theme, which is it's kind of nice. Did it again. Don't hold that finger over the button. So there's a taste of Pirate Pete. Of all the games you could be playing right now on all the arcade games, the different game modes and what this is accomplishing, which is essentially platforming and swinging from vine to vine and jumping, it is still awesome. This stands with the other releases of Jungle King and Jungle Hunt, so I'm rating this as if they all are the same beast. So of all the games you could play right now in the arcade, this is top tier. This is one of the best games that you could play up to this point. Jungle King is just like I said with Jungle Hunt. It's 5 stars. It's doing platforming. It's doing different game modes. Maybe if it had a play to win feature, it'd be higher than that, but I'm going to give even more than that. Yeah, same thing, Curtis. I'm matching the same score, 5 stars. Looking in the chat, looks like most people aren't as impressed with Pirate Pete, or maybe because it's the clone and not actual Jungle King or Jungle Hunt. I'm seeing mostly 3.5s, yeah. And Jungle Hunt definitely did. So I would still say 5 stars for Pirate Pete. It is one of the best games you could play right now in the arcade, November 1982. It's also kind of sad because this is the kind of game that's going to be slowly bringing us out of the golden age of arcade games. Oh, that's right. Yeah, if it was a clone, you could say it was a little bit less than the other ones, but it's been made from the same parts. All right, so after that, let's see what our next game is after this commercial break.
Yes?
Yes?
Ooh, is that the rental store?
Sure.
For Intellivision.
No. Activision doesn't make video
Yeah, it
games
doesn't come
for
out on
you.
Activision.
Pitfall, that challenging jungle
What?
adventure game that dares you to find the treasure, and Stampede, that rope them doggies roundup game.
Negative.
It does?
Stampede by Activision for...
Activision. We put you in the game.
What a great ditty. It's time to play Pitfall. Released on the Intellivision? Yes, we can have Pitfall on the Intellivision. Let's check it out. Here's the box for Pitfall. Oh, look at that. Reskinned? A box looks totally different than the box we had on the Atari 2600. And I'll take it. We originally saw Pitfall on the Atari VCS in April 1982, and here it is for the Intellivision. Activision is now on the Intellivision. Great front of the box. Very, very well done. Hopefully by this time you already knew about Pitfall. It was huge on the Atari. And so if you only had the Intellivision, you've been clamoring and waiting for this one. So exciting. Let's flip it over the back. Ooh, they got a composite screen. They actually say it. Pitfall Harry's Jungle Adventure. Conceived and designed by David Crane. And David Crane did the port as well. For one fearless fortune hunter at a time. And we will. Yeah, what's with the gym socks? Good point. I don't think people... I never imagined Pitfall Harry like that. There is the overlay for the Mattel Intellivision because most games, almost all of them, have overlays. But if you have a keen eye, you'd notice that this overlay means absolutely nothing. You have no reason to use the overlay because all the overlay is doing is pointing to the sides and telling you where the buttons are. Yeah, very helpful. Thanks. We don't need the overlay for Pitfall on the Mattel Intellivision. There it is. So throw the overlays away. Now, there's the cart. I don't know how well you can see it, but this is a unique cart for the Intellivision. When Activision came, they created a slimmer, or it comes to a head, and it has gripper lines or sides to grab the cartridge so you can pull it out of the Intellivision. That's awesome. Oh, no way. By this time, it would have been that cheap, really? So we do have some artwork and the example of the screenshot. It looks pretty close, at least from what I can tell. Here's the manual for Pitfall, now on your Intellivision by Activision. The object of Pitfall is to guide Harry through a maze of jungle scenes. Oh man, we all know. Jumping over, avoiding many dangers. It shows us how to hook up our system. Slip the overlay onto your hand controller. No, I don't think we need to. We can run left or right, jump over dangers, climb up ladders, down ladders, grab the vine. For some reason, they decided to put an extra button to release from the vine here. I guess because Intellivision has extra buttons, they did that. But you didn't have to. And then we have the scoring. Make sure you find all of the treasures. They still have the 255 screens, which was huge for a home console at this point. Oh, really? It's almost identical? Yeah, we'll be seeing that soon. There's some special features. Pitfall by Activision is 255 jungle scenes that Harry can travel with an underground scene equal to 3 on the surface, but it's a circular maze. If it goes through all 255, he'll come back to the starting point. Yep, so it's just like that, and 32 treasures, just like on the Atari VCS. There's the hazards, and if you look here, they're giving us another composite screen with all the different things that you'll see. What money bags look like, the underground passage, and look, there's the Atari, the Intellivision hand controller, complete with your overlay. You're going to be jumping with one button and releasing with another button and then moving, and that's it. So this would have been a great game for me to have whenever I was playing these games without overlays or manuals. You don't need any of that. Just pop in the game and go. And how to get the feel of it. Oh man, how to get the feel of that disc at the bottom of the Intellivision. That's what you really didn't know. Oh, nice. And you can even have the patch if you join the Harry's Explorers Club. Yes. Does anyone have this still sewn on their jacket? Is it a real patch or is it just a symbol? If you score 20,000 points or more. And there he is, brought over from the Atari to the Intellivision for the first time. There's David Crane, the designer of Pitfall, and along with his other games, Fishing Derby, Dragster, Laser Blast, Freeway, Grand Prix. We've seen them all here on the show. And we're going to be seeing more from David Crane, big time. I know, at this point, we haven't seen Pitfall 2. There's only Pitfall on the Atari VCS. Let's pop in and play some Pitfall. This is David Crane and Activision, the beginning of November 1982. This is the 48th game we've played on the Intellivision, and it's Activision's 20th game. That includes all ports and extras, but everything that we've seen by Activision has all been on the VCS. This is the very first time. And I'm just going to go right into it. We move the disc, and I think it just goes in. And yeah, we're in. Look at that. Oh, look. The high-res graphics. It moves. I would just say the disc is, if you have qualms with the Intellivision disc, then you're going to have problems. But look at this. This is pretty much one-to-one, and the way this plays... Oh, I almost forgot. I got to push the other... I got to remember to push the other button. I'm used to pulling down on the Atari to jump off. All right, move it. Nah, yeah, stay on the head of the crocodile. You'll be all right. Love this. Oh, it's still so good. Just platforming in general is fun. I really can't tell the difference between the two. Leaving the vine, though, I got to remember to push the other button. That's about it. This is the famous pit that dropped in when we had my buddy Casey Club Kirby on the show, who had never played Pitfall. It was his first time, and he was like, "Oh, the treasure! Let's run for it!" And then fell down the pit. It was classic. It was just exactly what you'd expect. But I just love the way that it controls and feels. Let's get out of there. So this idea and concept, just running and jumping, is not that big a deal. I mean, because we've seen lots of running and jumping, but this is the exploration, moving from scene to scene like that. That's what makes this big. Oh yeah, and the font and scoring at the top is a lot better. Yeah, the presentation at the top is slightly different. That's a good point, Curtis. So again, way to go, David Crane. At this point, it's amazing to think of David Crane only doing... This is the 12th game that we've seen him do up to this point, with everything else on the Atari VCS too. This is fantastic. This is playing and feeling so good. This plays so good that it makes me feel like all the other games we played at this point should be controlling better. That's how good it is. Nice and easy. There we go. Oh, that's true. Why was that fire so white? Oh, there we go. Fell into another pit. A pitfall, if you will. Okay, so at this point on Video Game Dome, and there's a death if you fall all the way in the black pit. We've already seen quite a bit of games that are platformers. And this is unique because it's a platformer that has a flip screen views. You're going from screen to screen. And there's been arcade platformers that we played on the show, and we define arcade platformers as Donkey Kong. Like you're on one screen and you're able to jump around. And at this point, we've played 54 arcade platformers. Thanks to Donkey Kong, there's lots of Donkey Kong variants that are out there. We've also played fixed platformers. Fixed platformers take place on one screen, and there is no jumping. Think like Space Panic, games like that. We've played 26 fixed platformers here on the show. And we've also played auto-run platformers. We just saw one, we just didn't get to the scene, like Pirate Pete and Jungle Hunt. And that would be platformers that are constantly scrolling, auto-scrolling to the side, and you just make a few jumps. But this one, you're having the freedom to move whenever you want to. There we go. And at this point, this style of game, going from one screen to the other, there's only one other game that plays like this. There's Pitfall on the Atari VCS, and then there's Smurf that's on the ColecoVision. That's it. There's no other platformers that play like this. It's a very, very small window of platformers. That's why this is still so unique of all the games out there. Also, after playing Indiana Jones on the Atari VCS, the playing as a treasure hunter trope is something that we had brought up before of video games that take that. And this again is, who wouldn't want to be like Indiana Jones? And that's kind of what you feel like playing as Pitfall Harry, swinging from vine to vine. Oh, I know, right? Yeah, it's going to feel really good when we see Keystone Capers. I'll pretend I have no idea what game that is. So this one is great. It is almost too good. It's the exploration, though, that pushes us over the top. Pitfall is one of the best games you could play on any home console up to this point, and this right here on the Intellivision, I was actually expecting something spotty or different, but no. This game plays identical to how it was in the Atari VCS. So if you enjoy it on the Atari, you're going to enjoy it here on the Mattel Intellivision. The only qualm I would say is the control of using the disc to bring it down, but it's not really that big a deal. Yeah, that's right, Brad. I'm with you there too. Another 5-star. Of all the games you could play across all home consoles, it's Pitfall. Right now, this is so unique. It's a 5-star game for sure. Looking over the chat. Oh yes, 5, 5, 5. Lots of 5s coming out. Yeah, it's very rare to see that, but the reason is because you just have so much more freedom in the game. It makes you feel like you're going on a true adventure, and you don't really have that right now for most games. Yeah, it's classic. I wouldn't have it any other way. Activision. All right, that's where we got to put our video game playing on pause. Thanks so much for joining me playing every single video game in order of release. I swear we're going to get through November 1982 at some point, but we got so many games to go through. I'm also adding more and more games to the backlog. If you ever check the link down below for all the games we've ever played, I'm adding to that, and I'll eventually be putting out videos showing the backlog games that we haven't seen. So some of the stats that I always point out of context for the games we play, usually those stats are based on everything we played up to this point, but I'm just going to start including stats about just gaming in general that I've just heard about from the past, rather than what we played here on the show. But we got lots more coming up, even more games to come, but I don't know how we can top Pitfall. Now that we played it, I really just want to keep playing Pitfall. Another mark of a great video game. Let's just stay and play some more, right? Well, next time on Chronologically Gaming, we're playing a shoot-'em-up with a day and night cycle. The second Asteroids variant for the ZX Spectrum. We are running away to join the circus, and the scariest licensed video game we have ever seen, but it's not a horror game. That's it for today, and like I always say, this whole concept of running to the right and jumping is sure to catch on. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.